Yeah, I've got St. Brown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't even say his full name. You said, I got St. Brown.
I don't have to say his full name because everybody knows who he is.
I don't know. You might got to repeat it
You
for
don't
the
have to
people
say
that
his full
don't.
name. You can say his full name if you want to. You know what I'm saying? But fantasy experts, fantasy people, people with titles, people with trophies, we know who he is.
So back to my list, no more interruptions. Number 6, I got A.J. Brown from the Philadelphia Eagles. Because, what? He was fourth. He was fourth in receiving. He was fourth in receiving yards last year, with over 1,400 yards and got 11 touchdowns. Like, dude.
Okay, that seems a little high.
I have to admit that I actually am a fan now of the Celtics, and they are like one of my teams. So
okay. Are they one of your team or are they your team? What is it? Are they your
well,
team?
I feel that you can have two. I feel you can have two
God,
main teams.
You can't have two main teams.
Yes, you can. You can.
No,
you can have two.
No, you have to have one main team.
Well, I've got two. I've got two main teams.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man. Those are fire.
Courtesy of Pick'em Pros.
That's right.
Like and subscribe.
This is former Chicago Bear Desmond Clark. And y'all hear me on many podcasts, but when y'all hear me on Pick'em Pros, y'all know it's all about family. This ain't just business.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You know who it is. I am Derrick Thompson.
And I'm Diego Thompson.
And who are we?
We're the Pick'em Pros.
We are the Pick'em Pros coming back at you in the house with a special episode 102. What up, Josh, of Who You Got? Father-son dynamic duo. We're coming at you live from North Carolina. This will be our last live show for a while. We're going to keep dropping every Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, but it's going to be pre-recorded until football season starts. So thanks for joining us. And hey, hit us up in the comments. Ask us questions as we go. We're going to have a fire show as we are giving you our top 20 fantasy football wide receivers.
Oh,
yeah,
wide receivers, man.
That's
this is what I do, man. I pick the receivers, man.
Oh, you pick the receivers because you play receiver?
Yeah, that's what I do.
All right.
Okay. The people just want to listen to what I have to say, so they're able to win their fantasy leagues if they're not in ours.
Yeah, and we're gonna touch on our league at the end. Yeah, so you play receiver. You certainly play receiver, but as far as picking, man, these fantasy receivers, man, I mean, I've got titles, I've got trophies, I've got rings. You know what I mean?
Trophies.
Yeah, and not too dusty, man, not too dusty. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, multiple
90s trophies, man.
multiple titles in each league. You know what I'm saying? If you don't win at least 2 or 3 titles in the league, man, you're not doing anything. You know what I mean? You agree with that?
Well, I'm gonna wait till I get one, so I have bragging rights like that.
All right, my man. Well, you've been playing for a minute. How long have you been playing?
Like 4 years, I think. I think I'm going to my 5th year.
Okay, going into your
fantasy, being in at least one league. So
yeah. So you've been playing since you were 9. So that's crazy. So you're 14. So we
Yeah.
got you started very early. So you definitely know what you're talking about. So and we've been ranking. I think this is our third year. This is our third year giving our rankings.
Yep, third year ranking.
Yeah, so we've been doing this for many years now. So we're giving our top 20 receivers today. Next week it'll be running backs, then it'll be quarterbacks. We'll do tight ends. We're going to rank everybody. So excited to do that. So give us your feedback. Give us your comments as we go, your rankings. We definitely want to see and hear that. And again, if you have any questions, let us know because we definitely want to hear from you. All right. Well, hey man, before we get into it, let's just go ahead and dive into some draft tips. Let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
So since we're talking about receiver, just what are some tips that you have just from drafting?
Well, I usually like to go for the receivers. The last I think the last few drafts I've had, I tried to go for a receiver in the first round. Last year I had the 8th pick and I got super lucky by getting Tyreek. 8th pick in the draft. He fell all the way to 8th. I was able to get him and he had the best year at anybody. So that was awesome for me.
Wow.
So that's usually like there are really 5 receivers that I'm really confident in this year. Like if you get them in your first round, then you're set like that as your number one. They're gonna put up big numbers every week. So going for a receiver is really the smart move. But Josh Allen, I like him. He's gonna put up big numbers. If you want to go QB, you should go for him. And that's really it. I got.
Okay. Yeah, it's risky going QB because the thing is, with quarterback, there is a lot of parity with the quarterback position. So, back in the day, you had to get a running back first round. Like you just had to get a back because they would go. And now receivers are like what running backs used to be. So you have to have great running backs, and with the great receivers, because with the running backs, they get hurt. A lot of them get hurt. You can kind of afford to get your running backs a little later. A lot of the top running backs are going to be hurt. So you pretty much have to draft a receiver first. I mean, if you go quarterback, it has to be a world beater. You know what I mean? And
like the only quarterback, if I were to get a QB, I would take Allen in the first round. That would be the only person. Because Mahomes, I don't know, he's in a lot of blowout games.
Right.
So his numbers won't always be top of the top, but Allen, I think his team's going to rely on him so much that if you were to go QB, I think he would be the guy.
For sure. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So just a couple of tips there. I've got a few more things to mention before we go into, so the format of today, you're going to go ahead and give your 20 through 11. Then I'm going to give my 20 through 11. Then you'll do your top 10. I'll do my top 10. So that's how we do it. And then we'll touch on our league at the end there. And I've got some comments on IG. So let's see. Already Dead Angel said, love the Curry behind you. So you got a shout out on your Curry there.
Nice. Get it.
Well, so I got a few more comments to make here. Another thing that I like to do is I like to draft people from loaded teams, the good teams that are going to score a lot, teams that have good offenses. So you want to be careful of getting too many players on teams that that are going to be bad, because if they're a bad team, they're not going to have as many offensive opportunities. So they might be the lead person. They may get a lot of targets, but how many touchdowns are they actually going to get? So some teams to look out for that really don't have bona fide number one receivers, but they're teams that you probably want to get some receivers for are Buffalo, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Packers. So
I agree. Yeah,
those are 3 teams that you want to keep an eye out on, and you can get, especially with those receivers, you'll be able to pick up later. So when you get to the 6th, 7th, even 10th, 11th round,
especially the Chiefs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Chiefs and the Packers, I think, are definitely them to go for.
Yeah. So that's just another tip there. All right, man. Well, let's go ahead and get into the top 20. Why don't you go ahead and start? Do your 20 through 11, and then I'll go through my 20 through 11, and we'll see where we are. All right.
Okay. So my 20th, I got Zay Flowers from the Baltimore Ravens. He had a good rookie year. Last year had about around 860 yards, I think. Had a few touchdowns in there. Also had some rushing touchdowns in there.
Okay.
But he really came around later in the season for the Ravens as the number one option. Really took them to the next level, and I think he's going to carry this to next year and take his production to a whole other level and be a top 20 receiver.
Okay.
And
Now,
not number 9.
Hold on, but before you go there, no, that's great. I actually have him way higher, so I'm very high on.
I like Zay Flowers a lot. I like his game. He reminds me a lot of Tyreek.
Definitely. He reminds me a lot of Tyreek. They didn't start really going to him as a number one. The numbers that he put up, they didn't start going to him as a number one off the bat. Yeah. So the numbers he put
didn't
up,
play in the final game. So
exactly. Yeah. So I think
they have him
very underrated.
They have him. They have him way lower on the ESPN. I think they have him at
they've
40,
got him right? They've got him at 24.
24, yeah, 24. Yeah. I think he should be higher than that.
All right.
But anyway, number 19, I have DJ Moore from the Bears. It feels weird to say, but I have him from the Bears.
No longer with your Panthers, man.
Yeah, but last year he had a good year, number 6 in the whole league in receiving yards, over 1,300 yards, about 8 touchdowns. So he had a good year, but the Bears loaded up on receivers this offseason. They got Keenan Allen. I don't know how long he's going to be healthy. So he's getting up there in 8. I don't really trust him. I didn't have him on this list because I don't trust his health.
Yeah,
and the Bears are stacked at receiver. And Rome Odunze, a top 10 pick, who was the third receiver taken in a loaded class. He's going to put up some numbers. So I have him. I have him at 19.
Okay.
Number 18, I have Deebo Samuel. I like Deebo Samuel because he can get you a lot of just points in fantasy. He can get you some receiving points, rushing points, touchdown bonuses, like receiving bonuses, like all types of things. And the only thing about him is his health. And I don't know if Brandon Ayuk is gonna play for the Niners. I don't know. He's gonna take some of his targets. So that's the only thing I'm worried about with him.
And he's such a physical player too.
Yeah, true.
So he runs so hard. That's like you said, that's the only thing about Deebo.
Outside I like Deebo a lot. But number 17, I got Mike Evans. He was number 9th in receiving yards last year. He's been very consistent. He hasn't had a single season where he's had less than 1,000 yards. So you can probably at least get that from him. But the only thing with him is that he's getting up in age, and Chris Godwin, he's in his prime about, so you don't know when he might come up and take his spot. So you never know with that. Number 16, I got Devontae Smith from the Eagles. Heisman Trophy receiver, by the way. The thing with him, he got his bag this summer. So and he's a number 2 receiver. So even though he's a great receiver, those two things are the reason I have him lower than last year.
Now let's expound on that, because that's a great point, because that's something that you and I talk about a lot, off camera and whatnot. So that's something else to factor in the equation when you're considering a player. If there's a tiebreaker, if there's a player who is about to get paid, is in a contract year, that gives them a notch up on why you may want to go with them. If it's a player that just got a bag, again, still go with them. But when it comes to tiebreaker situations, that is something to factor in.
And even looking at it from a player perspective, I know players are super competitive, but it may not even be on purpose. Just like, it's just like happens. Like sometimes you lean back, you're like, well, I do have $30 million in my bank account this year. So that doesn't even happen like on purpose, but that's just how it is sometimes. Number 15, I got Brandon Ayuk. I have him low because I don't even know about this situation. He didn't show up to mandatory mini camps. Trade talks are still happening. He doesn't have his money. He's very frustrated. Even though he was 7th in receiving yards last year, I have him lower because I just don't really trust him that much. I don't know because
No,
I
I don't
can
trust
see him going off because he doesn't have his money. He's going to
Yeah.
try to earn it, but it is also a strong possibility he doesn't play this year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I gotta have both of those into equation.
Okay.
So yeah, number 14, I have Marvin Harrison Jr., the rookie from Ohio State.
Okay.
I trust him a lot. The Ohio State, they produce a lot of good receivers over there, and he's going. I know the Cardinals weren't the best team last year, but I think if he is on a bad team, he does have a solid quarterback with Kyler, and he is a really good receiver. So I think it's good to have him in the top 15.
Mhm.
And number 13, I have Jaylen Waddle. And it's sort of like the Devontae situation. He is the number 2 receiver,
Mhm.
and he did get his bag. But,
True.
yeah, but I know Tua likes to throw the ball a lot, so I know he's gonna
Yeah.
get his yards. He did get injured last year too, so
Mhm.
and injuries be a part of it too.
That's
And
a big part.
yeah, number 12, I have Cooper Kupp. He I don't have I have Puka Nacua ahead of Cooper Kupp. So
Okay.
yeah, I just don't trust Kupp. He's been injured the last 2 years, at least partially of the season. And he did have a great year in 2021, one of arguably the best year ever for a receiver. And then since then, he hasn't been the same.
Oh yeah. I wish I had the clip. I wish I had the clips because you were on here before. Cup.
Taking shots at me,
You
man.
had him as your number 1 receiver going into that next year, and I told you that was a bad move. You know what I mean? And
Why are you throwing shots at me, man?
now he's barely in your top 20.
Okay, all right. Well, he's not barely. He's number 12. He's barely in my top 10. That's how you should say it. That's how you got to learn how to use your words, man.
I phrased it that way on purpose.
No, you didn't. Okay. Number 11, I got Nico Collins. He was a really good receiver last year, 8th in receiving yards for CJ and the Texans playoff team. They're a good team, so that's probably what you were saying earlier. The Texans are going to score a lot of points. So I feel very confident about Nico in the offense, especially with what he did last year. So yeah.
It's a good one. Okay. All right. So that's your 20 through 11. All right.
Yeah.
So let me move on to my 20 through 11 here. Get my notes here. So with all of my players, I also have the ESPN ranking so I can compare. And a lot of my guys, I disagree with a lot of the ESPN rankings.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. A lot of players that they have lower, I have higher. A lot of people that have higher, I have lower. So I'll give you a comparison as I go through those. So number 20, I've got T. Higgins of the Bengals. I got T. Higgins. So I think ESPN has him at number 27.
Wow.
Yeah,
they were just high on him last year.
Wow. Yes. So T. Higgins has a lot to play for, right? He's looking for a long-term deal. He's on a winning team. He's on a team with a high-powered offense. The Bengals are my pick to win it all. So they're my early pick to win it all right now. So I think they're going to be firing on all cylinders. I think Burrow gets off to a quick start.
What happened to the Lions, man?
No. That's right. No, I got the Bengals going to the Super Bowl. I got the Lions winning it. I got the Lions.
You're lucky I cleaned that up for you.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
I should have just let you stay with that.
That's right. Detroit will be mad at me. Yeah, I've got the Lions. I got the Lions, Bengals, but I've got the Bengals going to the Super Bowl. But with that said, the AFC is going to be loaded. They got a lot of teams to beat. They got to beat the Chiefs. They've got to beat the Ravens. They have a lot of people they have to beat. But I think Higgins has a big year, has a lot to play for again. So I have Higgins as my number 20. As my number 19, I've got Tyler Lockett of the Seahawks. I got Tyler Lockett of the Seahawks. Okay. So now with the Seahawks, Lockett is a consistent player. So I think ESPN has him at 44. They've got him really
that's way too low.
They've got him way too low. So Lockett always plays. He's super consistent, plays every game. So you also have Metcalf on that team, but Lockett is the more consistent one. The other thing that I like about Lockett is he doesn't have some receivers, they'll end up with 1,000 yards or they end up with 900 something yards. But what'll happen is they'll have a couple of really big games, and then they have a bunch of clunkers, and that'll mess you up fantasy wise. Give me a guy that's going to consistently have decent games. Go ahead.
I had Lockett last year. He wasn't as consistent last year. I'm gonna say that he wasn't as consistent last year. So
he's been consistent every year I've had. So it was probably because you drafted him.
It's probably because he's getting older.
Nah, man.
He may just be declining just a little bit.
Every year I've had Lockett, he's been solid. He's been consistent for me. So hey, if he's there a little later, I'll take him. I've got him as my 19.
I'll take him on my team.
No problem taking Lockett.
I wouldn't have him as a starter, but that's probably going to be hard to do.
I will definitely take.
That'd be hard to have him on your team and not be a starter.
Yeah,
it depends how good you draft.
Yeah, I mean, on my team, because I'm heavy receiver. So if I'm drafting Lockett, he's probably my third receiver. You know what I mean? Because I take a lot of receivers early. So yeah. But I've got Lockett as my 13. All right, my number 18, I've got Devontae Smith from the Eagles. So deep threat. He put up over 1,000 yards last year, 7 TDs. Again, he's competing with AJ Brown, but I think Devontae, he just takes the top off of the defense, and think he's gonna get his numbers no matter what. So he's a good pick there at 18. And ESPN had him at 21. My number 17, I've got Marvin Harrison Jr. I have him in there. He's my only rookie that I have on the list. So again, he has Kyler Murray as his quarterback. He's the only receiver there. Has a good quarterback, strong arm. So he's going to get his touches, and he's going to put up decent numbers. So I've got him slated at 17. ESPN actually has him at 13. Yeah, they have him really high.
Yeah, I have him at 14. I could have had him a little lower, but I like him. But I'm hesitant on rookies a little bit.
Well, hey, fun fact. I one time drafted a rookie in the first round. It was my very first draft. It was back, I think it was 96. I think it was 96 or 90. I can't remember the year. But my very first fantasy football draft, okay, in the first round, I selected Randy Moss. And he was a rookie, and I got laughed at and clowned and like, oh, what are you doing? Taking a rookie. And he went off. Everybody knows he had a legendary rookie year, and it worked out well. Now, as far as drafting, although he was a beast, it probably still wasn't the best pick, because if you can get a player in the 5th round, then don't take him in the 1st. So that was the mistake that I made. So even though he had a great year, I could have stacked up other players, and I still probably could have gotten Randy Moss later. So anyway, that was my story on that. All right, so number 16, I've got Amari Cooper of the Browns. So ESPN has him as low as 32. And Cooper, last year, he put up 1,250 yards, played 15 games, had 5 TDs. And what I like about Cooper also, again, he's still a speedster. And I feel they're going to have a good season. They've got a great running game. They've got a good line. They have a good defense. They have a lot of pieces. So they're an offense that's going to get a lot of opportunities. And with Cooper being the number 1 option, I think he's a great selection. And in a lot of your drafts, you'll probably be able to get him a little lower. But I think he's someone that you'll be able to steal.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Number 15. This is going to be a shocker, but watch. This guy's going to have a huge year. I've got Jayden Reed of the Green Bay Packers. Yes, Jayden Reed of the Green Bay Packers.
What?
Yes. Yes. Dude they really didn't even start throwing him the ball until the second half of the season. He totally came on the scene second half of the season, but he still had 8 touchdowns last year. Okay, your top guys, again, Devontae Smith had 7, Waddle 4, Moore, who was one of the top receivers back there, had 8, right? So he was one of the top guys as far as receivers. Watch, he's going to have a huge year. He's the number 1 receiver for the Packers, and we all know how low the Packers are.
Oh, no.
Yes, he is. All right, watch. Hey, I was the guy that drafted Diggs when he went to Buffalo. All right.
Congratulations.
And I got Diggs like everybody had Diggs rated low that year. I got him like in the 7th or 8th round. And now you see
6th round.
now you see where Diggs is. You know what I'm saying? So watch. Jayden Reed, Green Bay Packers. He is a number 15 receiver. Watch. All right. So next, I've got Drake from the Falcons as my receiver.
Drake.
All right. Yep. I've got Drake. So number 1, he's got Kirk. He's got Kirk Cousins throwing to him. He's a number 1 receiver, and the Falcons are going to be the team of that division. All right. Number 13, I've got Jaylen Waddle. All right. Like you, I've got Waddle. Waddle is rated number 22 on ESPN. I'm shocked by that. He again had 1,000-yard season and is a speedster. Tyreek isn't going to catch every ball. Miami's going to put up a ton of points. So Waddle is a great number 2. Got him at number 13. All right, I've got 2 more here. Number 12, I have DJ Moore of the Chicago Bears. DJ Moore put up 1,364 yards, and the Bears were awful last year. 8 TDs. Just imagine what he's going to do this year with the new quarterback, with the other weapons, the other receivers. He is going to have a monster year. So definitely want to draft him. And ESPN has him at 19. I can't believe he's that low.
That's where I have him too, 19.
You got him at 19. Yeah, you've got him way too low. Way too low.
Man.
Way too low. All right. And then
he was on my team for a long time. I know this guy pretty well. So
yeah. He was on the Panthers, and they had no quarterback. Now he has a quarterback. So now he's going to lose his mind.
Caleb. Well, you have to bring, all right. Bryce is better.
Yes. Heisman Trophy winner.
You know who else is the Heisman Trophy winner? Bryce Young.
I don't know about that.
You know who's not a Heisman Trophy winner?
Who?
CJ.
You always hating on CJ.
Because he's not Bryce.
Hating on CJ, man. You need to get that.
Let me go. Who won the Heisman Trophy over CJ? Bryce. Who beat CJ in the head-to-head? Bryce. Who was drafted over CJ? Bryce. Bryce always has the edge.
Bryce has the edge. Okay. Who was at the big party? The big party where they all wear white.
Who was at the ESPYs?
Was he there?
Bryce was at the ESPYs.
Was he?
With Nick,
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
And he was talking to Cam.
I'm shocked they let him into the ESPYs. I'm shocked. Yeah.
Of course they let him at the.
I can't believe that. I cannot believe that.
Of course they let him at the ESPYs.
I mean,
should have gotten ESPY.
An ESPY for what? College?
ESPY for best Heisman Trophy winner.
No. Hey, Roy, shout out to Roy for 49ers. He says CJ is having a better NFL career. Shout out to Roy, man. We see
I'm still mad by looking at that video of CJ throwing balls to Travis Scott. That was
that was crazy. That was crazy. All right. Let me get to my 11 before I kick it back to you for your top 10. My number 11 receiver, I've got Puka Nacua of the Rams. Yeah, Puka Nacua. So he had a monster year. Oh, and Summer, pull that. I think you had a question. If you can pull the other one back up. Yeah. So Diego, who performed better, Bryce or CJ?
Oh, so what? The ESPYs?
No, just period. So you're still saying
who performed better? Well, that's complicated because that's complicated. I'm gonna give it another year because rookie years are hard to judge by. You know.
Okay.
I'll give it another year.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll take that one down. Now, Summer, was there another question after that? And then let's see, CJ Stroud, Rookie of the Year, and won a playoff game. Okay, that was a comment.
That doesn't mean anything.
Cool. Yeah, man. Yeah.
See,
there's Brandon. Brandon spitting the facts. You know what I mean? So
every head-to-head that they've had,
you're
Bryce always beat CJ in head-to-head. Anything.
Hey, that
head-to-head.
That head-to-head meant nothing. Okay, who made the playoffs? CJ, who has
I bet you if they played the Panthers would have won. Just like in the regular season when they beat them.
What? Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Summer. Yep. Give him another year. Me and CJ is bad.
Man, I'm getting so much hate today, man.
All right. Hey, for my number 11, yeah, that's right. Come on, Brandon, bring them facts. Puka,
done
I
with the
got him as
hate,
number
man.
11. ESPN has him at 7. Again, a lot of people have him rated high. He had a monster year, but I'm just a little leery on taking him that high because again, there's another thing with the receivers. Your first receiver, you have to hit on. You cannot miss on your first receiver. If you miss on your first receiver, there's no way you're gonna win. You know what I mean? So again, Puka, little risky. Again, if you can get him as your second, third receiver, maybe that's why I've got him at 11. But anything higher than that, I think is
confident with Puka.
pretty risky. I need to see
I
another
like
year
Puka.
before taking him that high.
He's nice, man.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go back to you. Why don't you give us your top 10, man?
All right. So number 10, I got Garrett Wilson on the New York Jets. I think he's a very good. He's showing us that he's a good receiver. He has lots of good qualities with him, and I think Aaron Rodgers being there, if he's able to play this year, and he'll bring the best out of Garrett Wilson this year. So I see him as number 10.
That's a big if, and I feel you on that. Yeah, if Rodgers is there, he's a top guy, but I'm concerned about Rodgers. I had Garrett last year. I don't even have Garrett on my list because to me, it's just too risky because he's so dependent on Rodgers. Like a lot of these other receivers, they can still put up numbers with the backup. That clearly didn't happen with Garrett last year. So he's a little risky to me. But again, if Rodgers is there, he's definitely going to put up numbers because Rodgers is going to force him the ball.
Yeah, I see that. But number 9, I got Devontae Adams. He's always going to be consistent. I've had him the last few years. Had him the last 3 years in fantasy. He's always solid. I wouldn't want him as my number 1 option though. I'd rather have the guys, the other guys on my list, the top 8. But I like him. He's a solid. He's a good to have on your team.
Okay.
And number 8. Oh, and another thing with Adams, he's going to play good. Whatever the quarterback situation is, he's going to put up numbers. So yeah. Number 8, I got Stephon Diggs. You saw this last time he went to a contending team, contending team. He had an amazing year. Took him to the AFC Championship game. I can see Diggs doing the same thing with the Texans. I can see that. I can see that happening, but
for sure.
Actually, not the AFC Championship game. Maybe the divisional, but not the AFC. But I can see him going far.
Okay.
I believe in Diggs this year. So number 7, I got Puka Nacua. He had a monster year last year. I think he has what it takes to do it again. So, he's like 23. So I think he can improve a lot.
And he's had a great offseason training. He's in better shape. So a lot of things point to a great year.
McVay as the coach, Stafford as the QB. Solid situation. Number 6, I got AJ Brown. He went on like a tear last year where he was like, I don't know what it was. He had like a lot of games in a row, like 150 receiving yards. He went crazy last year. I think he can do it again. Almost 1,500 yards, 7 TDs. Monster year. He does have Devontae Smith, but he is the top guy. So I believe he can put up another monster year.
Oh, he's definitely the top guy. I mean, the quarterback Hurts is his boy, and if he doesn't get the ball, then he'll start crying like he did last year. Devontae Smith started getting the ball and was outshining them, and then he started crying, and then they started forcing him the ball. So he's definitely gonna get his touches.
I think Hurts was a little scared of AJ Brown. Number 5, I got your guy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What?
From the Detroit Lions. What do you mean? What?
That's disrespectful. Oh my goodness! Oh, that's
low. That low. Ooh. That's near the top.
Oh man!
Where do you expect me to have him?
My St. Brown?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
He's great. Man. That's praise.
That's a shot to the city of Detroit. Oh my gosh.
Whatever, man. All right. He had 1,500 yards last year, 10 TDs, 120 receptions, and 16 games played.
Preach. Preach.
So does that make you feel better?
Mm.
Okay, so all right.
Okay.
He had a great year last year. He did get his money.
Mm-hmm.
Just putting it out there, he did get paid a big bag.
He did.
But I do think that he's gonna play hard regardless, whatever the circumstances, try to win for Detroit. So I think he's gonna ball out. Number
Detroit?
4, I have Justin Jefferson. This may be low compared to some of the other years but I have him this low because the top 3 guys I have ahead of him are beasts, and they're on really good teams.
Mm-hmm.
That the Vikings are not going to be a good team. The quarterback situation is iffy. They have a rookie from Michigan who didn't put up the best stats in college, and they have Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
So those are 2 options. And
that's right. You hate on their quarterback. That's right.
Yeah, and they're a bad team, and he did get his bag. So those are a few red flags. But Jefferson has put up numbers every year of his career, so I'm confident in him to be a top 4 receiver. Number 3, I got Tyreek Hill from the Dolphins. He was the top receiver last year. Crazy numbers. 1,800 receiving yards, 13 touchdowns, 119 receptions in basically 15 games. Because one of the games he was hobbled through the whole game with the ankle injury. He still had like 70 yards and a touchdown. Crazy. And then he missed the next game. I think if he played those 2 games healthy, then he would have got the 2K. He would have got the 2K, but
he really wanted that too. He really wanted.
I think he would have gotten it. I think he has a chance to get it next year.
Yeah.
I think he does.
He played that. I mean, he has so much adrenaline. That was so cold. Like what injury was that when he fell?
It was his ankle.
Yeah.
It was his ankle. He got up and he started yelling to the crowd. It was a Monday night game.
Yes. Yeah, man. He had the ankle injury, was hobbling, and then got so much adrenaline that he like ran to the sideline. Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah. But he'll be a legend for that. And I have number 3 on my list. And number 2, I got CeeDee Lamb. I know he put up great numbers last year, close to Tyreek, 16 more receptions than Tyreek, actually. A few more yards and 1 less touchdown. So his numbers are very close. He still hasn't gotten paid. So I think he's gonna have another monster year. And Dak, he likes to throw the ball a lot, so he's gonna get his targets. Yeah. And number 1, I got Jamar Chase. He hasn't gotten paid either, to my surprise.
Ooh,
and he hasn't gotten paid. And I had him number 1 last year. And with a healthy Burrow, there's no stopping him because he might have been my number 1 anyway. But with those 2 in play, I think he's a lock for that number 1.
Okay. Chase, I think ESPN has him at 3. Okay. All right. Yeah. Chase is. I've had Chase as my number 1 receiver in the past. I don't have him as my number 1 this year. But again, you typically take, whoever I have, and then the next year you make them, you just kind of recycle what I do.
Whatever.
Later on.
You didn't have Reek before, right? You never had Reek. You never had Reek, right?
What, Reek on my team?
Yeah. Oh, you did. You did.
Oh, yes, I did. Oh my gosh. Yes, I won a championship with Reek. Come on now. You know that. No doubt. All right. Okay. And shout out to Professor, my dad in Texas. He's hyped about the Cowboys this year and CeeDee Lamb. He claims that Dak's ankle's okay. So we'll see. I want to see a little more proof about that. And before I go into my top 10, I'm going to my top 10. Big shout out and happy 70th birthday to my dad, aka Papa, your grandfather. His birthday is tomorrow. So happy 70th birthday to my dad. So I want to give you a big shout out here.
Yeah.
All right. So big care packages in the mail. You got big gifts coming to you. All right. So that's fine. All right. So next, let's get into my top 10 here. So number 10, I've got AJ Brown as my receiver. Got AJ Brown is my receiver here. So he had big numbers. A lot of people will have him a lot higher for sure, but I'm going. He had 1,456 yards, 7 TDs. But the thing about AJ is he has a lot of up and down games. That's my only thing with him. So as high as most people will have to take him, I feel that he's got about a 10 rating because of that inconsistency a little bit with him. But great receiver, number one guy. I just have him at number 10. So we're kind of nitpicking when we get to this level. And another thing that we're doing with these projections is, again, we are projecting. So we factor in what happened the year before, but we're also projecting what's going to happen. That's why I had the guy for the Packers so high, because I'm really projecting that he's going to take a leap, because that's going to happen. People that
I have Garrett Wilson in my top 10.
Going to come back. Huh?
I have Garrett Wilson in my top 10.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that, man.
But you said it's about projecting, right?
It is about projecting, but
yeah,
a lot of that depends on your boy Rodgers, for real. So
we'll see. Get the combo.
If Rodgers stays healthy, then he might be all right.
He might be all right. Watch out.
Might be all right. But we're definitely projecting when we're doing this. All right. So number 9, I got Cooper Kupp of the Rams. I got Cooper Kupp actually in my top 10. So I have him a lot higher than you did. I think he bounces back. It takes time to have and see. So yeah, we definitely have him in our top 10. But it takes time.
We're talking to someone else.
It takes time to come back from the injury that he had. It takes a lot of time to come back from that. So I think this year he'll be back at full strength. Last year he played about 12 games, still put up great numbers for the amount of games that he played. So going into this year, I am projecting that he's going to have a full season. By having that full season, that's going to take Puka down a little bit. Okay. And I think he's going to be back closer to those numbers that he had for that Triple Crown season. So Cooper Kupp is going to be back for this year and have a great year. So he's definitely one to look out for.
Learn the hard way.
Definitely want to look out for. Number 8, I've got Zay Flowers. Yes. Wow. Yeah, I got him high. I got him real high. You're going to see. We're going to come back to this and look at this ranking and see just how spot on I am with these, with my Jaden pick. Zay Flowers is like Tyreek. They from day one are treating him as a number 1 receiver, and he is going to go off. He's got tons of motivation. You know, he had that play where they knocked the ball out of his hand on the goal line in the AFC Championship game. I know that's playing in his mind. He's coming in this year to try to completely go off. They've got Derrick Henry in the backfield. Zay Flowers will be a top receiver. Trust me, he's going on. So I've got him at number 8. All right, nah,
that's high, man. That's high. He wasn't.
Nope.
Let me see where he ranked in receiving yards.
Go ahead.
He wasn't 39th in receiving yards last year.
He became again. I'm projecting
39th.
I've got titles. I've got trophies. I've got about 10 titles. Okay, so I know what I'm talking about. They were not treating him as a number 1.
8 receiver.
They weren't treating him as a number 1.
Who was their number 1 then?
Look at his numbers second half of the season. Look at the second half of the season. Yeah, they were throwing to OBJ and they were also running it a lot. But now they know what they have. Once they started utilizing him, he's going off. I've got Zay Flowers, say it again, at number 8. All right, number 7, I've got Devontae Adams. The Raiders, steady Eddie, man. No matter who's in there, he's going to get the ball. He's going to get his touches. He's going to get his touchdowns. He's just, it's just steady Eddie. And another thing with Devontae, let me go to some numbers for him. So Devontae Adams, last year he had 1,144 yards and 8 touchdowns. And it was a very bad year for his standards because for some of those games, he was hardly even getting the ball. Right. And a lot of that was due to the coach, because there was some friction between him and the coach.
Really?
Now with this new coach, they're on the same page. Devontae's going to get his touches, and he's going to have a big year. So Devontae,
that's a good point, man.
Number 7. Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Devontae, number 7. You definitely want to get him if he's available. He's steady Eddie. All right. Number 6, I've got Stephon Diggs, Buffalo Bills, Stephon Diggs. So I think he's gonna go crazy this year. He's got CJ, one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. He's on a loaded team, great defense. They're gonna have tons of possession.
He wasn't the top quarterback in his draft class, that's for sure.
He's motivated.
Fact, the Bears traded their pick to the Panthers not to draft him.
Hey, it was bad, just bad management, bad decision. You know what I mean?
Whatever.
But Stephon Diggs is gonna do his thing. So Josh, hey, you watch. Hey, Josh, you know what? don't mess around and be in my division, Josh, because I'm gonna be beating you down when we play. I'm gonna be.
I think Josh might win your division.
No, he won't. No, there's no way, Josh. I'm gonna be
he will.
stacked because I'm gonna have Zay Flowers. I'm gonna have Reek. I'm gonna have everybody. I'm gonna be giving it to you, Josh. So shout out to Josh out of Cleveland. I'm messing with him. Much love. Josh actually got a couple of shirts off us, man. So he's a big Cavs fan. He picked the Celtics in the final. So we had a nice little wager going. So he actually got like a Celtics tee and he got a Tatum tee. So shout out to Josh. All right. So next, man, let's go to my number. We're getting to my top 5. So my top 5, I've got Justin Jefferson. So again, Justin Jefferson, we know when healthy what he puts up. It's going to be interesting to see what he does without Kirk. How much of that was Kirk? How much is it? Is it JJ?
Well, it wasn't Kirk, trust me.
We're going to see. The question that I have with JJ is, one, they're not going to be that good of a team. They're going to have limited offensive possessions, and is he going to get doubled all the time? So is he going to have the same type of opportunity?
They have good receivers there. They have Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, tight end.
Decent receivers. Go ahead.
Guys to be worried about.
People to be worried about. But again, when we get to this level, we have to be sure. You got to be sure. So I've got him at number.
Flowers. I'm sure it was Zay Flowers being my top receiver.
As your top receiver.
That's what you said. He's number 8. That's top receiver.
The way I draft, it depends. He might be. It depends on where I fall, and we can touch on position too. But it depends on where we fall. But yeah, Zay, if I'm picking at the end, so if I'm picking 9 or 10, but see, I'll probably be able to get somebody else. But the way I draft, even with him being ranked 8, he might be my second because I'm probably going receiver the way I'm going. So that's just kind of how I draft. All right. So Josh, you're going down, man. All right. So number 4, I've got Jamar Chase. So Chase, he put up 1,216 yards, 7 TDs. Couple of issues with Chase. And again, we're nitpicking at this level when we get to top 5. The reason I don't have him higher is because I think T. Higgins has a bigger year this year. I think T. Higgins is going to go off this year. Another thing is Jamar has little knick-knack injuries. Anybody who's had Jamar can speak to this. He has little knick-knack injuries, and he'll have his huge games, but he will put up a couple of games where he doesn't put up as high, that high of numbers. And again, your number 1 receiver, you want them to be a receiver that's going to be as consistent as possible. The first receiver that you take, you really can't afford them to have 20-yard, 30-yard games and no touchdowns. So that's why I've got Jamar at number 4. My number 3 receiver, oh man, we're getting to the cream of the crop here. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Detroit Lions. Man, dude is Iron Man. His dad was like Mr. Olympia. So yes, he did get the bag, but he's got a work ethic like no other. He's in the gym right now, and he's motivated to bring a Super Bowl to Detroit. So he definitely is a guy to get. Fun to watch, has the touchdown celebrations, just comes to play every single week. So had 10 touchdowns last year, over 1,500 yards, and is going to run it back this year. So he's definitely a lock. All right. Number 2, I've got CeeDee Lamb. Dallas Cowboys, CD's going to have a big year for sure. Still is trying to get that contract. Dak is in the same boat, so they're both going to be trying to put up big numbers so they can get paid. But CD had a ridiculous year last year. Who drafted him? Oh, that might be me. Yeah, I had him last year. So yeah, thank you, appreciate that. So CD, I've got
how many leagues you playing, by the way? You playing like 3, so you had a lot of opportunity to draft a lot of these people.
It was 3, and I was great in all leagues too. It wasn't like 1 or 2 was a clunker. I won in the league, so yeah, definitely.
You basically had every single player on this list because you played on so many different leagues.
Oh well, that's just the knowledge that I have of these guys, because I have had them all for sure. All right, and my number one, this is a no-brainer. This isn't even a question. It's not even a question. It's Tyreek Hill, and there's no debate. He's gonna get 2,000 yards this year. Yes, I said it. He's gonna play all 17 games. He's going to break the record. He will be the first receiver to get 2,000 yards in a season. He is a lock. If you are drafting and Tyreek Hill is on the board, unless you're in our league and I have a chance to get him, then draft Tyreek Hill. He is the number 1 receiver. It's a no-brainer. It's not even a debate. That's it.
All right, man.
All right.
Cool.
All right.
Cool, man.
Cool. So again, tell us your list. If you have any questions, hit us up with that. But before we go, let's just touch on our league, man. So we've got a really cool league starting off. We've played in other leagues, but we are starting our very own Pick'em Pro league. We already have our players selected to be in that league. So we're ready to go. We've got Josh, we've got Brandon, we've got all the people that always join and watch us. So it's going to be a fun league. Desmond Clark, 12-year tight end, played primarily for Chicago Bears, will be in our league as well. Going to be a lot of junk talking, and we'll be covering that a ton. So our draft is going to be Saturday, August 24th, 7 p.m. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're gonna film a lot of it, and then probably the show afterwards will be coverage from our draft. So the September, I guess the August 31st or whatever that is, August 30th show will be coverage from our draft. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. But man, you ready for all this?
Yeah, I'm ready for fantasy football, man.
Okay, yeah, man, it's about time to start ranking. So we'll get into running backs next week. Then we'll get into the quarterbacks, tight ends. Every week is going to be something. So we won't be coming at you live. We're going to pre-record it and put it out there so you can check it out, dissect it, and get all of the competitive edge that you possibly can. So that's about it, man.
All right, man.
All right, cool. Well, I think we are set. Take that list, download it, apply it, and you'll definitely have an edge when it comes to receivers. All right, man. Well, hey, on that note, we really appreciate y'all joining us. Yeah, Josh, we can't wait to see you. We're going to get on out of here. Until then, Pick'em Pros.
Pros.
Later.